Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at TechTrader.com. It's Thursday, June the 20th. These are the charts of the day. Well, a very solid day on Wall Street, and a lot of stocks we followed did very well. And as a matter of fact, you can see the inverse head and shoulders and breakout patterns on a lot of gold and silver stocks in particular. Here's a silver one, AG, which is First Majestic Silver. After a long downtrend, we saw the stock then base out for last year. Breakaway gap today with volume, the biggest we've seen on an update since going back a year and a half. Significant. I think the stock gets up into that 8.5 range, and then secondary target is around 9.75. AQB, Aquabounty Biotech stock, is surging with volume, and it's at resistance. I wanted to point out that if it gets through here, 4 3/4, and even as high as 5.5 3/4 might be targets going forward on this one. Keep an eye out. ARQL ramping and not getting closer to the top of the channel, but after the breakaway gap a week ago, it's continuing to push. Looks like a move to about 11.5, 12 short term may happen. On a long-term basis, real long-term, you can see that major resistance that goes back 15 years. 1059 would be a target, and today's high was 1039, so we're right there. If we break through here, we could see something in the mid to high teens, closer to 15, 17. Up next is AU, another gold stock, Anglo Gold. We've been watching this for a long time. First a major uptrend, then the pullback. And now a beautiful rising, sharp, even sharper surge. It's taken this from 11.25 to 17 just in the last 3 weeks. This one's at resistance going back in here, but if it gets through here, your next target is 22. CATB, nice inverse head and shoulder type pattern. I like the look of it. A recent swing trade, I think the stock can make a move first to 9.5, 10. Take out the declining top side would be nice. And then run up into that secondary target, which looks like to me up about 16. So let's call it 10.5 and 16.5, something like that. CVM has been exploding, and you can see the run up it's had recently. A sharply higher move over the last 2-3 weeks has taken it from 370 to 770 and more than doubled. There's resistance from the May high at about 8.5. We get through that, my targets are 12 and 15. CVRS, one of our swing trades, looks like it's setting up for an explosive move. If it gets through 3, I think it's going to 4.5 3/4. That's my next target. EVBG is a monster. Take a look at this move in the last 2 years. From under 12 to 97, just since the mid-2016 range, about 3 years. Currently, breaking out and running up, there's a juxtaposition of the lines that come in right about the 103 to 105 level. I believe we may hit that short term. Well, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, after breaking out there with a breakaway gap and then forming a consolidation, breaking out of that, came back a couple times to test, create a new rising channel. This looks to me like a stock that's headed to 16. Today was a breakout. Another gold stock, Barrick, with a massive inverse head and shoulders, has now, for me, I think set up for the ability for this stock to make a move towards 18 and 21. JNUG is another large basing type pattern after a big downtrend. Big breakaway gap today and a pop of 164, 17% on 26.6 million. Huge volume. There is some resistance just above here, about 11 3/4, but I think the stock makes it to 13 3/4 and 16. And KL, one of our favorites of the last 2 years, continues to explode and run beautifully in a rising channel. My target of 40.41 was hit today. My next target is 45. Nugget is yet another in the gold sector that I think could make it up to 28, and if it gets through that, then we're looking at something that may get up into that mid-30s. PAYS, steady as she goes and rising in a beautiful channel after a pullback this last week, should I say earlier this week, has ramped back up again. It looks to me like it's headed to 15. And PCG right in itself, after consolidating for a couple months, it's on its way again, it looks like. There is resistance at 25. We get through that, 30 and 35 are targets. Old favorite Cure has been ramping as well. It jumped another 342 or 4.4%. My target now 105.10 zone. SE, which I've been high on since it was here in the low 20s, has ramped up about 10 points in the last 3 months. And now setting up an ascending coil that I think could send it to 36 and maybe even 40, 42. Marijuana TLRY is looking much better. It broke out today and I put a new swing on it. I just like the fact that it took out its 9-month declining top line and popped at 424, 9%. indicating to me it has more to go. Volume was the best in about a week and a half. I'm looking for a test of 54 and potentially 62. And finally, VUSI exploded in the last 2 weeks from $1.80 to $5 nearly. And this stock has maybe overbought short term at its major declining tops line. We could get a pullback. We probably should get a pullback. I would look for something down towards the 394 zone for maybe a back and fill test. If it should get to 5, this stock could run into the 6-7 zone. And folks, that's it for tonight. Have a great evening. Talk to you later.